The New Bedford Fishing Heritage Center is rich with tales from shore to sea. The Light wanted to hear more. In collaboration with the center, this is one in a continuing series we call Sea Stories.
Well, you know, when Tor was born, I tell this story all the time, but he had just gone out and I thought I was going to go another week. And he was born 2 days after he went out. So we were already home and settled in by the time he came home. And I couldn't call him on the telephone. When I did, it was shipped to shore. And then you call and you wait for them to call you back when they can connect. And I was in the hospital. I couldn't do it there. So we had a gentleman in New Bedford named Bill Brennan. He used to do the fish news every day. And he'd give announcements and give the weather and say what boats were in and how much they brought in and what the price was and what the weather was going to be and any birthdays and things. Well, I called him up and I said, Bill, you're going to have to put a message over the radio. And this is over the radio, so everybody hears it, not only the boats, but everybody listening to this AM radio station locally. I said, you have to put over the radio station that Radar has a son. And so he put it on. I'm laying in my hospital bed and I'm listening to this. And we have a news for Captain Radar. He has a son, his firstborn son.
I got to know the same day, but a lot of other people got to know long before me. It was cool to do too, you know, something to tell about people afterwards, and you know, it's a story.
But I think it's important that people know what it was like. So my parents were officers of a Norwegian organization. And they asked me if I wanted to go with them to the Christmas party, and I'm like, And up on the very top, they had a big ballroom, and people would have events there. So I dressed up and went with them, and then the elevator came up, and the elevator doors opened, and he walked off, and I looked at him, and he looked at me.
I looked at her, she looked at me, and I said, I wish I knew that girl. How could I forget that?
And then I went and sold him some chances, and the rest is history. He was out for 10 days, a week to 10 days, home for 3, and then out again. And the 3, unless it was bad weather that kept him in an extra day or something, but you never knew that. All our children were christened, baptized, the Sunday between Christmas and New Year's, because we always knew we had them home. You didn't know when they were going to be in until you heard it on the fish news sometime. Sometimes they would call home and say, I'll be in tomorrow, and they were on the way in. You know, so then, but a lot of times you just listened to the fish news and then you heard they were in.
At that time, they didn't expect you to call every day. You know, if you called once in a trip, that was about it. Unless there was something wrong or something that you had to report or whatever. Of course, you thought about them, but you couldn't think about them 24 hours a day. You had to do your work too.
When Radar went out fishing and I dropped him off at the boat, we'd go out to Fort Phoenix and wave goodbye, and he'd toot the horn going through the dike. And then we'd come home, and the boys decided they were going to go out fishing too. So they had trawl doors, and they had a dock, and they had the equipment, and the netting, and the needle, and I would just hear, we're on our way, Mom. See you in a week. I think they used to even say that. And then I'd have to bring dinner to them. As I say, they didn't even want to stop to come in for dinner. They were too busy. And then they were going out too because Dad just left. And they decided they were going to head out that day too. So.
Well, they're a fishing family, you know, so they knew there was a boat, you know, and they knew when I went out and stuff.
Well, our daughter's the one that did that. When she was a national park ranger and took people on walks down in the harbor, she'd say, you know, your family... You know how you have family pictures on your wall, you know, all the relatives? She said, if you come from a fishing family, you have pictures of the boats that you've owned, yeah.